Thinking about relocating to Charlotte's hottest market and you're scanning some of the zip codes with the lowest cost homes? Well, hold up and pause how you're searching, because just because a home is a lower cost and might look like a bargain, you actually might be sacrificing not only lifestyle, neighborhood, maybe safety, and even schools. Today in this video, I'm going to break down why the cheapest areas are probably some of the least likely places that you would want to live. And on top of that, I'm also going to cover how to find the best neighborhoods to not only fit your lifestyle, but still fit the budget. Stick around, I promise this is well worth hearing before you make the move. Charlotte, North Carolina, the heart of the South, and one of the biggest cities in the United States, is seeing rapid growth as we've seen over the last several years. Year over year and day after day, we're seeing over 115 people net moving to the Charlotte, North Carolina area. Now, as you are probably looking at an overhead map, and as I do when I go to new cities and towns, I'm wondering, where's the best deal? Where's the best opportunity? And where could I possibly buy a house, either for myself and my family or even as an investment? Well, if you start on the way down the train of let's just look at the least expensive properties available, you might end up in an area that either is not appreciating the same way, might have higher crime rates, bad schools, or all of those things combined, and won't actually meet the lifestyle that you're looking for. Now, Charlotte, North Carolina is no different than any other city in the United States, even small towns. I actually went to high school in Asheville, North Carolina, up in the mountains. And one thing you can count on is sometimes the haves and the have-nots are right across the street from each other. But it doesn't just come down to income, it comes down to what you're gonna find in some neighborhoods. More rundown houses, older, less upkept. And that's what we see in Shiloh compared to one of the oldest, most expensive neighborhoods in Asheville, full of old money, which is Biltmore Forest. Now in Charlotte, we have this as well, and I had it even up in New York, and any of you guys who are wherever you live are seeing the same things in your towns and neighborhoods. There's just certain areas where you wouldn't want to live. So how do you find it? How do you know? And how can you avoid these areas as you're shopping for a new home? Hey, are you interested in learning everything about relocating to the Charlotte, North Carolina market? Well, click that subscribe button and you are going to be up to date on all the changes coming to Charlotte and the upstate of South Carolina. I'm Kayla Lindsay, your Charlotte, North Carolina real estate expert. And every day we're getting calls, texts, and emails from people who are just like you, looking to move to the area. So if that's you, all of our contact information is in the description below. Go ahead and grab it. Give us a call, a text, an email, whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days. We're here to make your move everything you want it to be. Well, one of the first things I'm going to share with you is going by the most expensive areas and finding homes that are nearby that are least expensive also isn't the greatest way to shop for properties. For example, we have Dilworth, and right over in that area, we've got Madison Park, etc. These homes start in the 800s up to 4 million plus, right? Beautiful old developments that just have been there since the dawn of time. Well, since the dawn of Charlotte. That being said, literally right across the tracks, you have mill homes, more rundown properties in many cases that are selling in the $200,000 to $300,000 for a 2-bedroom. Now, for some people, this looks like a bargain, right? You're right next to a really expensive neighborhood, you're close to uptown. So these homes must be in a good spot. It must be a bargain, right? Wrong. What you really want to look for and you want to see a bargain is if the houses surrounding this house are selling for higher dollar amounts. For example, the house you're looking at on a map might be surrounded by homes that are $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 higher than what this one is selling for. That would be a bargain. If we're comparing it to a neighborhood that's across the street, it could be a completely different kind of neighborhood with completely different kinds of houses, and you're gonna be left out in the lurch, maybe in a neighborhood you don't wanna be in. So step one in finding a bargain at the right price. Of course, search your actual price criteria because you have a price range you're looking for, but make sure you take a look at what the other homes around it are selling for. Perhaps if it's in the same price range, it's not as much of a deal as you thought it might be, but it still might be in line with what you're looking for. The next thing you want to look at, number 2, when trying to find a good bargain for the least price here in the Charlotte market, take a look at crime reports. Now, I am going to put this hands down, crime happens everywhere. My neighborhood has crime and people barely lock their doors half the time. Some of my neighbors just don't, right? It's a very safe area, especially compared to many other areas of Charlotte and especially other areas of the country. However, crime stats will tell a story. And when you go take a look at these crime maps and overlay them over Charlotte, it's going to start to paint a picture that you're going to clearly understand. Where are police being called to? Where are things happening? Where are thefts? Where are assaults? And you're going to start to notice that there are higher congregations of these happening in certain areas around Charlotte. Now, due to fair housing laws, I'm not going to go into the specifics to call out a lot of these neighborhoods, but they're very obvious if you go look at the crime maps. Go take a look at cmpd.org. You can also, or it might be .gov, and you can also go ahead and just Google crime maps of Charlotte, North Carolina. I will also recommend look up what kind of crimes they are, okay? Petty crimes like someone had a fender bender, those aren't really things, okay? So keep that in mind as you're looking at these. Not all crimes are created equal. Look for the big stuff. Third thing you want to look for as you're looking for a bargain, a deal, or looking to find homes that are in lower price points that still put you close to the city or the things you want to do, has to do with what is happening in the neighborhood. So how do you find this out? How do you find whether a neighborhood is growing, shrinking, staying the same? Well, the best way to do this is to take a look historically, not only at what was in that neighborhood, but maybe also plans that are coming to the neighborhood. Another way of doing this is seeing what homes are in that neighborhood were selling for 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and then today. And then if you see that trajectory, usually it looks like a wave, right? Headed outwards from the city, where these smaller neighborhoods are starting to sell for more and more and more. And where you want to be is right on the cusp of where it's not expensive yet, but there's still regentrification happening and there's still room for growth. You don't want to be so far on the outskirts where it's still not as great, but you maybe don't want to be in the expensive part. You want to be right in the middle. Now, when you're living in an area that's being regentrified or rejuvenated or turned into its next level, its next stage, into a butterfly, it does come with some consequences, right? Some of the homes around you might not be in great shape or completely dilapidated, owned by families who have been in generations for eons, or you might be dealing with slightly higher crime or slightly underserved roads and infrastructure. These are all things you may have to put up with a short while until things grow up around you. The cool thing is, this is going to be the best appreciation for your property because the neighborhood is growing in value. You're still paying down your mortgage and you have the ability to improve your home as well, which is going to raise those prices. So be sure to be on the lookout for that because that's going to be a telltale sign of things to come and where it might be a really good bargain. Now, here's a misnomer for Charlotte. Ready? You've probably heard this. You've probably seen this. South Charlotte is the best. Well, what is South Charlotte? And what makes it the best? And why the hell can't you find a house for under $500,000? Let me break this down for you. South Charlotte to most folks is the inner quadrant or wedge of the 485 belt. So you've got 485 that goes all the way around Charlotte. You've got this lower wedge that has 77 flanked to the west and 74 flanked to the east. This little wedge is usually what people refer to when they say South Charlotte or south of Uptown Charlotte. Now, this is a vast area. And yes, if you want a 3 or 4 bedroom, it's probably not going to be less than $500,000. I can tell you that right now. 500 would be a win if you could find that in many cases for a decent square footage. Now, below the belt line is still kind of considered South Charlotte. This is going to be everything from Ballantyne to the west, all the way through Wesley Chapel and Weddington, coming up to meet Matthews to the east, which is that 74 line. So is South Charlotte all it's cracked up to be? And is it a bargain? Is it someplace where you're going to find inexpensive homes? Sometimes. You are going to find that along I-77 and South Boulevard, which sits to the west, there is a small chain of properties that pop on the market that are definitely a fraction of the price of what you're going to find further inward or to the center of the South Charlotte area. Does this mean it's good, bad, and different? Well, here's what I would tell you. Personally, I think this might be one of the best opportunity zones to purchase a property because you have the blue line that is right there. So that's the light rail line. You're very close in proximity, of course, to the South Charlotte regions and everything that has to offer. But there's also growth happening to the other side, to the west side of I-77. So those prices are going to keep getting driven up, moving outward from South Charlotte. So if you're on the edge of where these improvements are being made and where the prices of properties are higher, you're going to start to see more improvements in your property price, but you're also going to get the advantages of the location. Now, drastically different if we go all the way to the north side of Charlotte, and again, we take a look at that belt line. There is a lot of opportunity right along 485, both inside and outside, keeping close to the 485 belt, right up along that top ridge. Honestly, you can find homes in the 300s. That's right, in the upper 300s, into the 400s a little bit. These are still considered really good, reasonable prices because you're going to find 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom homes, but you might actually have a quarter of an acre and you're still only about 20 minutes from uptown, which is really reasonable. Anywhere all the way from over by the Whitewater Center to the west, upwards and over to University. These are great areas, low crime rates. You can go check the crime stats at cmpd.org or gov. Figure it out one day. Go look at CMPD, which is the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. That's where you're gonna find that. But the biggest opportunities in these areas is right off of 485. So you've got easy commute times, whether you're going east, west, north, or south, you could get wherever you need to go. Personally, I live up in the northeast of Charlotte, inside the Beltline. Very affordable homes, beautiful area. Trader Joe's is 3 minutes up the road. Just saying, Trader Joe's is my jam. But we've also got Harris Teeter's and Whole Foods and all the other things you could possibly want, right? So the convenience factor up along this Beltline is also a big factor. But here's the misnomer. Just because you're on the 485 loop does not make your area as good of an opportunity as others. If we look all the way to the west side, there's a huge area of the loop that goes up near Steel Creek, etc. And there are more homes that are going up for sale there that are of lower price points. Here's your biggest challenge over there. The schools are not good. We're talking a rating of a 2 out of 10 for the high school, which is I think the lowest rating in Charlotte. So you might have a much lower cost for your property, but if you've got kids in school, it's probably not gonna match for what you're looking for. Now, headed to the east side of the 485 belt, this is where there's actually some very unique opportunity. So let me dive into what makes this so unique and why it could be something that it might be time to jump in on. Now, while the downside of this area is the fact that it's a bit farther out from town. If you're going to South Park, it's 45 minutes. Uptown is still about 35 to 40 minutes. You're just on this little area where you either go all the way north to come in 85 or all the way south to come in 74, but wiggling your way through takes just as long. So it's kind of an area that's unfortunate when it comes to commute times, but it does have opportunity when it comes to home prices. Now, homes over here you can certainly find in the upper 300s. As you get a little bit further into town, check the crime maps. However, on the outskirts right there, right along that 45 belt, massive opportunity for new construction. And here's the key. Some of these new construction prices are less than resale. I will say it again. Some new construction is less than resale. Now, I'm not just talking price per square foot, but they also have insane incentives that don't even make sense to me. I'm talking 10, 20. I've actually seen, not that I'm saying it is right now, but I've seen $30,000 closing costs, giving refrigerators and move-in packages, you name it, to close on their properties, new construction. I have also seen, which this is incredible, locked in 30-year mortgages in the 4s. Yes, at the time of this video, interest rates are at 6. That's still a really big deal. So when you're considering areas, sometimes going the new construction route can actually save you a lot of money, but still be in an area that's growing up. One thing that I will note, a lot of these new construction and builders, should I say, in general, are building in areas where growth is happening. More people are moving there, but it also breeds opportunity for the schools to improve, infrastructure to improve, because the city has to approve the build and then forcibly approve the infrastructure. So you're gonna see a lot of benefits to that where you've got a really nice house in a really nice area. Now, don't get me wrong, no, not all builders are created the same. There are some that I absolutely loathe that have horrible building practices and barely squeak by on making their okay with the inspectors, but we won't go there. So in a nutshell, on the east side, take a look at some of that new construction on the Beltline. These are going to be great opportunity areas. Now, of course, you're still going to come across those cheap properties or the ones that look great in the photos. You take a look at the map and realize, maybe that's not where I want to be. If you're still looking at some of these areas and finding those $250,000 houses, be sure to dive in a little deeper and take a look at the Google Maps Street View. That is going to give you a really good understanding of what you're looking at. So now I'm going to give you the cheat. Are you ready for it? The thing that's going to cut through the cloth. Make sure you get exactly what you need and make sure that you get the exact neighborhood you're really looking for. It's called hiring somebody who knows the area. Now, whether it's me or someone else that you've fallen in love with on YouTube, call these people, call me, call an agent that understands the area, understands what's going on in those markets, understands what you really want in a neighborhood, so we can go match you with what's available. Just keep in mind, there's always the right house for the budget that you're looking for. And of course, the further you go outside of Charlotte, sometimes the more opportunity, the better the price, the more the space, and the more you're gonna get for what you're paying. If you want more insights in the Charlotte market and some of the best areas to shop, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. There's more to be seen. And if you're ready to just get down to it, I'm 𝗖𝗁 𝗀𝘁, your Charlotte, North Carolina real estate expert and the upstate of South Carolina. Every day, I am getting calls, texts, emails, Zoom invites from people who are just like you, wanting to make the move to the Charlotte, North Carolina market. So if that's you, drop into the description below. All my contact information is there. Whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days across the country, across the world, or just across town. We're here to make your move everything you want it to be. So until next time, I look forward to showing you around town. So you're making the move. There's a lot of videos that you can be watching, like this one right here, or maybe even this one. Really either one of these, but honestly, watch both of them because they're going to help you make the move. Go ahead, pick one. They're both really good.